So I'm not just a guy who checks out fossils in museums. By my house, there are actually preserved dinosaur footprints, and I actually own a pretty impressive collection of fossils that I personally pulled out of the ground myself. On my live stream today, I was sharing this picture, but a lot of people couldn't see the images, so I just wanted to elaborate a little bit on this. And I'm gonna have to ask you guys to just trust me as someone who's seen real fossils and owns real fossils, that these fossils are all legitimate and that archaeologists aren't going around faking this because they have nothing better to do. But first we need to clear up some common misconceptions. Evolution is not a fully formed human magically springing from non-living materials, molecules to man. It is not a dinosaur magically transforming into a chicken within its lifetime. And it is not an animal giving birth to something other than itself. These are all common misconceptions, but the one that's even more common is the march of progress. This makes Darwin sad. Evolution is not a linear path. It's a family tree, just like your family tree. That said, looking back in time, we can see the order where things first appeared. So back to the meme, the oldest fossils we have are single-celled bacteria. And it's not hard to imagine how single-celled bacteria can grow into colonies and how those colonies can then turn into fully multicellular organisms. From there, you see body directions and interior bone structures develop. Those interior bone structures lead to organisms that can actually walk on their limbs, which will then become full tetrapods. Now, in those tetrapods, there are going to be some organisms that become mammalian. And in those mammalian groups, there are going to be some that become simians. In those simian groups, there are going to be some that start to have bigger brains and upright posture. And then some of them will become fully bipedal. Some of those bipedal apes will then pick up tools and start using them, which will lead to an increase in brain size, which also correlates with more modern appearances until you finally have things like Homo heidelbergensis and Homo ergaster, and then eventually you start to see things like anatomically ancient and then anatomically modern human beings. It's just a speed run of how an animal from one group could change just a little bit and fit into the next group. And basically the way that works is that within populations, mutants are born that are a little bit closer to the next group in the cycle. And then environmental conditions just make those changes get more and more common in the gene pool until a new looking organism eventually emerges. And that's evolution in a nutshell.